Hello, this is Maurice Thorogood and welcome back. You've joined us as we're having a cup of tea in our rehearsal process. Today, it's a great day. We're joined by Georgia O'Reilly, who is playing the carer of Alec40, who is played by Mansel David. Georgia, the moment you put that carer's uniform on, what happens?
So I think it's a really interesting reaction that you get from people and how they perceive you. As soon as you're wearing that uniform, you've got some level of authority. People have a different level of respect for you potentially because of the fact of what you do. I know that I would have admiration for someone because I think they're doing a great worthy cause. I admire people who go down that route because it is a hard profession for something like caring.
It's very hard.
With often little monetary reward as well.
Ros is looking after one of her patients. Is he difficult?
I think he is. In his stubbornness, but also kind of lovable and someone she enjoys being around. It's an interesting mixture of naughty boy in the classroom, but also in a way she slightly enjoys that, and he gives her a bit of trouble, but the benefits of visiting him outweigh the more difficult aspects.
In the very first script, neither of these characters existed. There was just Alec40 Alec60. When Maurice and I first met to discuss this project, I had already had the idea that Ros would come in. There was a dramatic purpose, obviously, because Alec80 is rooted in present time. Ros would be there to relate the audience to the fact that this was present time, whereas all the rest was quite nebulous. But I was very pleased, having introduced the thing as a device, how real it was.
He obviously likes her. I mean, I think he brightens up his week in a way that possibly the other carers don't. There's some sort of spark there, which he feels, certainly.
It's interesting that you could have a carer who just comes in that says, hello, all right, yeah, I'll put out your pills, see you in an hour's time, I've got to go to the next patient, goodbye. But this particular young lady is very caring.
She seems to be obsessed with medicine take. I wondered, Mansel, what, as Alec80, you think about the medicine?
Well, it's a double-edged thing, isn't it? He knows he does need it, but on the other hand, they mess about with his mind to a certain extent, and doesn't always like that.
Some of the dreams that he has are pleasant, and indeed some of them are reminders of a past that he would rather forget.
Yes, but they're very real.
I often wondered whether the medicine really was the cause of the dreams. I suspect that it's not. I think, given the obsessive nature of this man, that he would be having the dreams anyway.
Yes, I think it's the fact that he's losing control more and more over how they come and go. And then it gives him something to blame that on.
Of course, we talk about them as dreams. They're thoughts that just come to him at any odd moment. He can be in the middle of a book and the thought will come to him. And because we're in this wonderful creative process of theatre, every time he has a thought, we can bring it onto the stage.
Georgia, tell us how you put shape on this character.
There's two ways of approaching it that I'm conscious of. One being the fact that the character is always involved in the most naturalistic scenes of the play. She is that link between the audience and accessing this world in which the imagination takes over, that I'm not party to, but the audience are. So for Ros, I feel like she needs to be as real and genuine and natural as possible. Partly because I think it serves the relationship between her and Alec, which is a natural connection between two people who get on really, but also in terms of the fact that she needs to be accessible, she needs to be a thing that counters the heightened language and imagination that takes place in the rest of the play. So for me, as someone as well who's working in the care industry and having to really commit herself to doing some really hard work, it's all about forming that character that you believe wants to care for the people that she comes and looks after, including Alec80.
Well, what I love about it, of course, is the different dynamic it brings into the play and
it's
the
almost like two friends, isn't it?
And you've suddenly got this whole different thing going on, which is lovely.
And I love the way Maurice works here. He encourages creativity, and obviously a lot of creative work has gone in this year, not only in the writing but in the development work that you and I put together, Maurice. But now that we have the actors in the room, a whole new level of possibilities is opened up.
Absolutely. Don't you just love, Pat, at the moment, that these two actors, they read the lines and there's not much acting going on, just line. And say, okay, let's play the scene. And suddenly, actors bring that craft to play. And within seconds, they've created a scene for us.
Absolutely.
Naturalistic, believable scene. And that is the craft that actors have got.
I love the little moment where she's not allowed to kiss him and he always asked for a kiss, and suddenly you brought that to life in the most lovely and amusing way.
You and I can't do that. The actors do it. We hopefully give them the platform in which they can now invent. And
One of the most fascinating things about moving from the page into rehearsals was when Alec40 came onto stage and he'd be able to move in between the other two. The effect was just amazing. I wonder how it felt for you, Mansel, when we started to move this.
It is a very interesting process. It throws up all sorts of problems as well as solutions. Because you've got these lovely scenes going on, but now you've introduced the idea that somebody is remembering them and therefore has to be there. And it is a process of finding out whether you just step back and watch a scene, or at what point you come into it to be part of the scene without detracting what is actually going on.
Yeah, I remember that when we first looked at the scenes, you felt that you were pulling focus all the time. And it was only when we started to work out that is where we need you to pull focus, because you have created this scene in your mind, and there are moments when you relive it with text as well, and then it becomes magic. But getting the balance is absolutely right. Sometimes you're to the side just watching and letting us, the audience, see what you're seeing, and sometimes you want to be in the middle of it and sort them all out, and which you do beautifully.
I mean, it would be only too easy to turn it into a play about just one actor and the focus entirely on that. But that's not what the piece is about at all.
No, because the really wonderful thing in the time that we've been rehearsing here is that you can have two completely different sets of emotions. There's the confident young man there, and there is the 40 or even 60 years on man who just knows what a stupid person he was.
It's been interesting watching some of Mansel's scene when the action is happening for Alec40, that is quite judgmental sometimes about Alec at different stages in his life, but he's still making mistakes and not aware of them. You know, interesting seeing his blind spots now as Alec40 as well.
I think the audience are going to be so with him when he's saying things like, no, don't do that again. They'll all be like, no, don't make that same mistake.
You're not really conscious of him at all, but I wondered whether in any way he's affected your characterisation of those women, the fact that he's there. And
the temptation is to look at him sometimes and get involved and to respond, because he's saying things right to me and very, very close, and I've got to sort of find a way of...
Look straight through him.
Yes.
He doesn't exist.
But
You do for him, of course.
And there's a lovely moment, actually, isn't there, where I am doing exactly that. I can't even see you.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't see you at all. I know you're there behind him, so I'm just looking through as if I've got X-ray vision. Looking through his
It
chest.
works perfectly well.
It's just as well that they were able to rehearse their scenes without me there, because of course I wasn't as a character.
Yes.
As a different character. So you have to have those scenes working in and of themselves before I come into it.
So we've all drunk our tea. It's time to get back onto the platform and start working, because in a week or so we're actually going to be in the theatre. We'll discover the real space, and it won't be long before an audience come to see our lovely play.